How are we placed? How are the Latics placed heading into the new season?
Hello?
Hello.
That's a lot better.
I would lie when I would say that we had a perfect preseason. I think we had a decent preseason, our first preseason together. We had a lot of changes in the staff over the summer, so we needed a little bit of period to find to each other, to learn about each other. I needed to find out how much we can push that team. Obviously, it was a different team what I had before. Average age was much higher here, and obviously we got a lot of work done. I think for some players was a little bit of culture shock what we went through. We lost 1 or 2, what was not good. Also some players over the summer where we had a change in the medical apparatus, didn't return from holiday fully fit. There were still some issues what has then carried on into the pre-season, but that is all done now. I think in the last 2 weeks everybody returned. The training, the level of quality in training is raising day by day. Players getting in match form, and I think going to Germany, playing against a team like Paderborn and winning there, I think is not a bad result at all, especially when you see how now Premiership clubs struggle against German opposition in pre-season.
Yes, we were talking just before we came on about Germany's triumph in the World Cup. Juve still hasn't seen the...
I don't make it, sorry.
No, he doesn't like to talk about it, he really doesn't. But Juve still hasn't seen, you still haven't seen the Germany-Brazil game, have you?
No.
We're not going to show
I was on the plane actually, so I have not seen it.
They won, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just before we open it out to the room, Jonathan, a quick thought on you ahead of the new season. Actually, first of all, how are you getting on with the new gaffer?
Well, as you can see, it's raring to go for the new season. It's great to have somebody like Uwe in charge. He's so meticulous about every single detail, and he's built a squad that I feel this season is stronger than last season, both in quality and also character as well, which is really important. So yeah, we're looking forward to the new season. We can't wait for it to start on Saturday against Reading. I think we're something like second or third favourites to win the league, which would be nice. We had a fantastic season last season. We had European Tour and FA Cup semi-final and playoffs, but this year let's hope we can go one better in the league.
Every time I speak to you, I can sense what a passionate fan you are as well, and how much it means to you to get a successful Latics team. Let's open it out to the room. Greg, where are you? You're over there somewhere. Put your hand up if you want to ask a question tonight. Greg's at the back with a microphone. We'll get him moving. Doesn't matter if you're near him. We'll get him running left and right. Get his fitness up. Perhaps get him into the matchday squad this year. Anything you want to ask to either Jonathan or Uwe about the new season starting this coming weekend. I think we need to work on that turn of pace, Greg.
Hi, Uwe.
Hello.
Just wanted to speak about the Adam Forshaw situation. I know it's only just happened in the past few days. But,
I didn't expect it.
So I get straight in. A lot's been said from Brentford about our approach and everything like that. I'm just wondering if there's any progress on it. Is it true? Are we actually after him?
Yes. No, we put a second bid in. It's also rejected. That is where we are. Obviously, I work with the player. I rate him very highly. The player's on a contract with Brentford. I'm here tonight to talk about our players. I only can confirm that we put a bid in. We handled the situation professionally, like we always do. We have never commented on any bid. We have never leaked it to the press. We never comment about the player. We have never comment about their manager in any way, and I think I'll leave it that way. So that is our way, how we will do business, and we will see how far we come.
Brentford, Juve called those bids unacceptable. Why would they use that word, do you think?
You want me, Jonathan? No, I can't shy away. So I don't know. I felt we evaluate the player in terms of age, in terms of games played in the Championship, games played in League One. We compared the player with players like Murphy, who went to Leeds, with Westwood, who went into the Premiership. We compared it with similar cases, and I felt we put out two very respectful bids, who, in our opinion, had been very tempting before. That was very tempting for Brentford. Obviously, Brentford decided otherwise, and that is totally in their right. So that is where we are. And but I think we compared the bid with other players who went from League One into the Championship or Premiership, and I think we was well above that.
Let's take another question from the floor. If anyone's interested, just put your hand up. On a broader note, John, about recruitment, can you shed any light where we are now in terms of recruitment? Almost there, or a couple of more pieces in the jigsaw you would like to fill?
I think probably Juve's probably a better place to answer that one rather than me, but we've signed 6 players this season. We welcomed Emre Hughes from Manchester City, a very exciting talent, Welsh international. He started training with us today, and he's our 6th signing. We've obviously lost Jordi Gomez, which was a disappointment, a real blow, because I think we've all come to love Jordi finally last season. And of course, Jean Beausejour decided to go back home to Chile and sign for a club called Colo Colo in Chile. And again, that was a disappointment, but we feel that overall, where we are now, as I said before, we're stronger. But I think there is still some work to do in building the squad that Uwe wants. As you've heard, we are interested in at least one player. And we try to do our transfer business as it should be, privately and confidentially, and only reveal exactly what's happening when we sign the player and he's signed on the dotted line. We feel that's the right way to do it. Of course, there's more than 3 weeks to go in the transfer window, so no doubt there'll be fun and games before the 31st of August, and I'm sure we've not seen the end of transfer activity in Wigan Athletic.
You're loving, don't you, the last 3 weeks of madness? Where are you, Greg? Yes, sir.
I like to ask the question, when the fixtures were released in June, 5 of the away fixtures are the longest distance, which are going to be played midweek, or Fulham game is going to be played on a Friday evening. Did the club object to those games? Because as far as the club's concerned, it's not fair on the supporters, and also from the point of view of the team. There's less fans at the game, which obviously gives the home team a big advantage.
The first point I would say is that really it's difficult to object to fixtures. Once the fixtures are out there, they're the fixtures that you get. You can't say, well, we don't want to go to Brighton on a Tuesday night, or we'd like to go on a Saturday. Unfortunately, the fixtures are what they are. Fulham was moved to Friday because of the boat race, and so we didn't have any say in that one either. But I think it is, well, I know it's a deliberate strategy by the Football League to have the long distance away games on a Tuesday and a Wednesday night rather than on a Saturday. And that's from feedback from football clubs who say that they prefer the local games, the derbies, the games within travelling distance for most of the fans to be at weekends, because that's when they can generate the highest attendance. So it is a deliberate strategy, and when you think about that, I can understand it, because if we've got, like last season, Yeovil Town away, the we're not going to take that many on a Tuesday night, but we're not going to take considerably more on a Saturday. So I think the feeling was from the Football League, I think it's a trial for one season, and I think that there is a good reason for it, and I think it will generate more local games on a Saturday, where there's more chance of more away fans going to the games, generate more atmosphere, and of course it's better for us. I'm sure you'll agree to play Blackburn and Blackpool and teams like that on a Saturday rather than a Tuesday night. I think we'll take more fans to those games.
You've, as manager, when the fixture list comes out in June and you look at it for the first time in the office and possibly plan where you will be picking up points where the games may be tougher, do you care who you play when and where? Because there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm not a manager to say this game we get 3 points, there we can maybe get 1, and there we will lose. I want to win every single game, and I'm not counting those. I'm not going. Our league is too competitive that we can say we're going to Blackpool or to other places and have guaranteed 3 points. We have to fight for every inch, and I think last season we have seen that. We had a fantastic run when I came in, and then we took the foot a little bit of the pedal, and then we lost. We got home a draw against Yeovil. We lost home against Millwall. We lost home against Blackpool. Before we had the best home records, and that came. So that shows me we have to take every game serious. We have to put the freshest, the fittest, the most motivated players on the pitch every single game, and to be competitive in our league.
I can just come back on your question. I hope I'm not jumping the gun on this one, but the good news is, despite the long away trips on a Tuesday, is that we hope to have the facility, it's a Football League initiative, to actually show the games at the DW Stadium in the lounges if we've got a long away game on a Tuesday night. It's not for every game, but certain games we'll be able to show the game as live in the South Stand, for example. And that's something we're investigating at the moment. So the long away trips on a Tuesday night, obviously we don't want to dissuade our fans from travelling to these games, we'd rather you be there. But if that's a facility that we can put on, and we're looking to do that, that's what we'll do.
Next question from the floor. Where are you, Greg? You're loitering at the back. Yes, sir, the Wigan shirt.
Hello, good evening. Hello, you there.
Good evening.
Could you please tell us why Grant Hope wasn't in the squad that went to Germany, and have you any plans to get rid of him?
Can you be a little bit more diplomatic?
The thing I love about Latic fans, they just beat around the bush all evening, and then ask the really cautious question.
I don't think you have a career in politics. No, after the season, I spoke to Grant, I spoke to his representatives. When Grant returned to pre-season, we had another talk. Grant knows what we want, and we know what Grant wants. We try to find solutions. There's another 3 weeks time to find that, and that is where we are. At that moment in time, I'm planning with the players who was in Germany, and we see what happened in the next 3 weeks.
If Grant Holt got himself fit, in shape, and showed desire to you, would he still have a future?
You should helping me.
I might come and sit with you.
No, I think Grant and I, we are grown-up people. I mean, we are honest to each other. We had that talks, and I think we know exactly what we can expect from each other, and he made his opinion clear to me, and I represented the football club, and I made my opinion clear, and we didn't fall out. We see each other every day, the training ground, but obviously going forward, I have a clear vision how my team should look like.
On a more general note, this is just part of the game, Jonathan. I'm sure you see it all the time. It's a really, really short career for footballers. Managers and players come and go, and situations just need dealing with like this all the time.
Well, we would prefer not to have situations like this, but and I think that's obviously a situation that arises when you change managers, and this is the third year that we've done this fans forum, and this is the third manager I've got sat next to me. But what I will say is that we've definitely got the right one this time. And to be fair to Terry, he did ask the same question a year ago about signing strikers that were perhaps a little bit older than we normally do. And I did say to him, well, you know, one of us is right and one of us is wrong, so it looks like you were right, Terry. But no, when managers change, obviously the style of football that we play changes, and certain players suit certain managers, and certain managers perhaps concentrate more on the recruitment of the players to suit a style of football. To be fair to Owen this time last year, I don't want to dwell on the past, but we had a very small squad before the season started, and we worked hard to get 12 new players in. We'd have done really well if all 12 would have worked. And Grant was a player that we signed to score us the goals to get back in the Premier League. And we all felt that, well, most of us. And I think that it's a shame that it's not worked out last season. I still feel that at 33, a fit Grant Holt is an asset and has a value. So it's a problem that is part of football, as you say, George, and we'll deal with it. And I'm sure we'll find a solution before the season starts.
So the lesson Uwe seems to be, if you want to stay longer than a year, don't come and do these fans forums. Where are you, Gregory? There we
I
go.
wasn't going to ask a question actually, but never mind. An easy one for you, Uwe. When we played Besiktas, or whatever you call it,
Besiktas, I think.
why did you move change the technical area? You swapped places. Is that going to be something for the whole season or just a one-off?
Yes, this will be for the whole season.
What did you do? Just remind us.
I was thinking the linesman is closer to my bench, and I can have now and then a quiet word with him. But probably it will help us. Now, I think you're playing sometimes with things around. I felt it's a new season, a new start. It's true, I felt last season that the opposition bench had a very much influence on the linesman. And I felt we playing home, we should have that advantage. That is one of the reasons.
Very good question, sir. Very well answered as well. More questions from the floor? Yes, sir. Question from the right hand side.
Evening, Uwe.
Even
This year's championship is going to be very, very competitive. Present company accepted with ourselves. Who do you expect, in your own opinion, is going to be challenging with us?
I mean, managers always saying the next season will be the hardest ever. But when you see what the amount of money has been spent so far, and knowing all the whispers and rumors what's going around and what might happen in the next 3 weeks for certain clubs, I think next season will be very, very competitive. I think the clubs who came from underneath, from League One, they are much, in my opinion, they will not go down. Is it Wolves? Is it Brentford? They will not go down. Rotherham will be very, very tough at their home place to beat. So clubs like the three clubs who came down anyway, they must be called favourites. Derby Middlesbrough have a sort of relationship a little bit to Chelsea. They will get more Chelsea players in to sooner the closer we come to the season. Forest is one of the strongest squads. Now they sold 2 players, but I think they have money to replace them. So it will be a very, very tough league, and I think I told my players all the time, I said, don't worry, because when we had that defeat in Düsseldorf, I said, we're not preparing only for the first game of the season, we're preparing for the 10 months. And I think that is needed to be 10 months competitive. And you saw last year with Burnley and Leicester, they didn't have big up and downs through the season. They was very stable and had a fitness level and a level of organization and camaraderie and spirit in their team would carry them through 10 months. And that is a little bit where we want to be and what we want to achieve. And I think when we get that and get maybe 1 or 2 additions who really can improve us on the top of the pyramid, I think we have a very good chance.
Uwe, as a manager at this level, you've obviously displayed a very good, very strong knowledge of all the other teams, the other clubs in your league, which you have to do. How much time do you have to spend as manager of this football club learning about the teams you've just outlined there and who the rivals will be, how they play, who their big players are, what threat they pose you?
I think there was a real problem when I came to the club because I've been in League One, so I had prepared for a January transfer window for League One players for Brentford. So unexpectedly, I came to Wigan Athletic, and then I had to look for players in a completely different shelf. I needed to see first what I have available, and there was a very tricky situation for me because we needed to starting winning games immediately to make it happen to end up in the playoffs. Now I got stuff in, I got head of recruitment in, I got a chief scout in, I got my people around me now who I trust completely in terms of match analysis, opposition analysis, player analysis. So last season we had 62 games, obviously that you understand I cannot watch every opposition the week before, or I'm relying on the feedback of people who I can trust, and now I have those people in place. What allows me then to also focusing a lot on my players, because I believe I want to focus mostly on us, because we have to be dominant and we have to win games, and another opposition has to look after us, so we not have to look too much after another oppositions. So that is the way I want to go into the season. Obviously we do our homework, we be very respectful to any team we play against, but the main focus is about us.
It's a very interesting point actually, isn't it, Jonathan? You bring in a clearly very talented, hard-working manager, but from a different league. So his knowledge, his expertise is of the players and the clubs in that league. Is that something you were considering when making the appointment?
Well, he didn't do too bad, did he, really? I think he would have had the average points that we had on Uwe all season, would have been promoted automatically. So clearly Uwe hit the ground running, and I think that's testament to the work he did at the training ground with the same set of players that we had in the first part of the season. And so, but it is a consideration because it's a big part of the game now. Huge part of the game is the detail that goes into studying opponents, studying opposition players, making sure the players are fit, making sure the players avoid injury or recover from injury as soon as possible. So the backroom team around the manager is so important these days. Gone are the days when it was a manager and Kenny Banks sat next to him. These days it's all about the team. And we have to compete against our rivals to make sure that we get that 1% extra from our players, because that can make all the difference between being promoted to the Premier League and staying in the Championship. It's a balance, of course, because we have to make sure that the finances stack up, and we have to ensure that we can afford to get the best team around Hoover. But that's what I feel we've done, and as I say, that's very, very important to the manager and to this club.
I think it's also important, I would add that I said all the time to my players that is the longer we stay in the championship, the more we have to adapt to life in the championship, you know. And this club did a fantastic job to be 8 years in the Premiership, and last season was for some players a little bit of culture shock. The Football League is different, and we all want to get out of this Football League as soon as possible. And but we have to also, what Jonathan says, we want to be as best prepared, we want to have the best staff, we want to have the best players, but we also have to adapt life in the championship, and the parachute payment gets lower each year. So, and then when you see the recruitment we did this year, we couldn't afford to have 2 experienced, established left backs. We could have 1, and then we had to bring in a younger one. It's the same on the right back position. We had to bring in a younger one, and that is adjusting life to championship. Yeah, and that is our job now with the expertise we have in our coaching team and fitness department to develop those young players to take over natural from the ones who are now in front of them. Yeah, but that is for me important to tell the fans. We have to adapt to life in the championship. Yeah, because we running this football club in a responsible way. Yeah, we want to go up. That's our dream, but we have to be responsible to you guys as well, because this football club should stay on for decades.
How fierce is your own ambition to manage in the Premier League?
Yeah, that is all what I want to do. I felt when this offer from Wigan Athletic came, I think it was, for me, that is what I wanted. This club, after I've spoken to the chairman, after I've spoken to Jonathan, gave me everything what I was looking for, plus the fact that I can live home again with my family. And I think, and I'm still think the same. I think the club is backing me, the chairman is backing me. We have money, we spend money so far, but I think we spend it wisely. We got a lot of younger players, we got Bosman players, but we also spend good money on Oriol Yera. We have a respectful bid in for Adam Forshaw. So I think we are on the way to put a very competitive team in for this season, but also for the next year already. I like to work under those circumstances. Like I had to do work in Brentford, and Brentford was a clear 3-year plan. I'm not saying that here's a 3-year plan, but I had to develop players to a level where they can win promotion. And here now I still have an experienced squad of players, but I have now, my duty is the younger ones who are coming in, to develop them, to push the older ones to a new level, what is needed to win promotion. And the short line of communication to Jonathan, the short line of communication to the chairman, that is what I want. I don't want to go to the sporting director, to the board, and then to the chairman, and no decisions will be made. Here is a clear line of short ways, and we can make decisions quick when it's needed. I think that is important, and I enjoy myself. Comes a new training ground in the future, but it was a fantastic stage for us to move on, not only for the first team, also for the academy. So the future looks bright in our football club.
More questions from the floor for Uwe and Jonathan? Yes, sir, the lime green.
Well, Uwe, can I just thank you for all you did for us last season and gave us a great season in such a short time. I think it's outstanding.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another question: how long is Sean Maloney going to be out? Is he?
Sean is a massive big player for me this season, and he's back. He trained today full. He will be available for us on the weekend. I'm not sure he will start because I think he's a little bit behind, but he's back full fit. Came through today 90 minutes. Good session, a hard session. He came through it no problem. I think he is to keep Shaw on the field, keep him healthy, keep him a light in his head. I think that's a big challenge because he is so influential in our offensive play. He can make us click. He can create things against teams who stays deep, putting a lot of people behind the ball. He's massively important for us.
Totally agree. Do you see him behind the front striker, or sometimes you play like wide?
We have two systems we worked on the whole summer. Like we also finished last season, the main system 4-3-3 and alternative system 3-5-2, and 4-3-3 is probably playing on the left, coming in on his right foot, or he plays in a 4-2-3-1, but just behind the striker. In a 3-5-2, he's playing as one of the three in midfield. So we have to get him in the center of our play. We have to give him the ball as much as we can to get his talent out.
And finally, how did you get so much out of Jordi Gomez that no other manager could do?
No, I think Jordi.
I rate him as a player, but he's always seemed slow, no sprint in him. But you seem to get something extra out of him.
First of all, I got excited to working with Jordi because I think Jordi is an extremely good footballer. He understands football and he thinks about football. I had many discussions with him, which just footballing discussions, and I enjoyed that because I learned from him. And obviously for him it was important to buy in our philosophy at times to play quick and move quick. And obviously we replicated that in our training session, and he never missed training. He was always on training, and he understood that that regime will benefit his way of play, and I think that happened. And in general, like Jonathan said, we offered him a good contract. We felt Jordi was very happy with the offer, but obviously we couldn't compete with a Premier League offer, and we all were sad to see him go, because I think going forward he could have been a very important player for us, because he can create goals, he can score goals, and he has the football knowledge to make a game quick and maybe sometimes slow it down, and what is important. But we wish him all the best. I think as long as I was here, he was a very good servant for the football club, and obviously you respected him as well. You made him player of the year, and we wish him all the best.
Jonathan, just a final point on Jordi Gomez, how disappointed were you that he went, and was it just a simple case of, had you gone up, you could have kept hold of him, but you didn't, and you couldn't compete with bids, Premier League bids, when you weren't a Premier League side?
Yes, unfortunately it's as simple as that. Jordi would have stayed with us if we'd have gone to Premier League. He really enjoyed playing his football here. He'd been here 5 years, under 3 different managers, and I do believe we did see the best of him last season. He was a top Championship player. He was a match winner, and we really did push hard to keep him here. Unfortunately, as you say, we can't compete with Premier League wages, and that's a fact of life at the moment, and unfortunately had to go. Our job now is to make sure we replace Jordi and Jordi's goals this season and make us stronger.
Greg, you've gone to another postcode by the looks of it over there. Right at the back. Yes, sir.
Hi. The 2 teams that got automatic promotion last year, Burnley and Leicester, they had quite potent strike forces in terms of sort of 30 goals across their front two. My question was, how important do you think it is to have a goal scorer that can sort of hit 20 goals a season? And have we got that goal scorer in our ranks? And if not, where do we see the goals coming from this year?
Has the microphone gone again?
Yes.
It's back. You were just drifting back to your days as a striker, weren't you? That's what
No, I didn't want to answer the question. I felt last year we was missing that sort of player. Last season in many games we dominated the games, but we had a lot of momentum in the final third. We crossed a lot of balls into the box, but we never really had that poacher in the box, that box player who comes on the end of it. We very seldom scored goals in the 6-yard box, and we scored spectacular goals. We scored some of the combination goals we scored was breathtaking, but the easy goals, the goals you should normally get easier, we never got. And I think we reacted, we saw that, we put Oriol, who I believe is that sort of box player. He's attacking crosses, he is very good in the box. He's not a counter-attack player, but he is a player who knows where the goal stays, and he has an instinct for goals. It's completely right what you said with Leicester and Burnley. We looked around, and we got Oriol, and we're still looking around. But you also have to see what sort of players are available. When you want to have a proven championship goal scorer, you have to pay over 20 grand each week, and you have to pay between 3 and 11 million pounds. So, and that answers your question. So the market for strikers is completely overheated, and we have to find other solutions. Yeah. We looked at Graben had only one successful season. He costed 3 million and 25 grand a week. Yeah. McCormack, you know about McCormack. We looked at Ochoa, Brighton, out of our range. So there are certain players we can't afford, and but we have to find solutions, because the difference between going up and not going up is goals. We need to score more goals, and we need to find a way for our good play, our dominance we have at times, to result it in more goals, and that is what we're working on.
Jonathan, you must enjoy hearing that from a manager who clearly has his head screwed on and will not come to you knowing that the prices are overinflated for a striker. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Well, absolutely, yes, and of course there's a limit to what we can afford, and we haven't got bottomless pockets, unfortunately. Fulham, Norwich have got an advantage on us because they've got higher parachute payments, and they had higher income last year from the Premier League than we did the season before. So as Uwe says, we have to do it in a different way. But I think to get a player that scored 13 goals in La Liga last season for just over £2 million, I think is a really good purchase. We'll find out in the coming weeks, but certainly in pre-season he looks a really good prospect. He looks like he's going to score the goals for us, and as Uwe says, goals wins you promotion. So it's important that we get the right players in, but of course we have to do it within our financial structure, as every club does. And some of the prices that's being paid for strikers these days in the Championship shows how desperate people are to get promoted, because in our view they are paying more than the value of the player, but that's up to them really, and we have to compete against that. But I think that collectively, as a team and with our manager, we'll be right up there.
I think it's also important when you play in a 4-3-3 that the wide players have to contribute with more goals. And I think Callum McManaman, he probably had his best pre-season he had ever. I think he looks very good. He's fit. He's ready to go. He knows it's a very important season for him. And in terms of
very well with that.
no, no. Sabotage.